it's Jordan. I am in Flint, Michigan, East Palestine, Ohio,
Tumwa, Iowa.
Please support the only independent outlet on the ground covering what the corporate media covers up.
What's up, everybody? Ron Placone here reporting for Status Coup. Happy New Year, by the way. I know I told you guys the screen was going. It was time for me to move on from the screen, and this is my interim look here. I got to get something. The white background, the white wall does not do justice for somebody whose skin is as pale as mine. So I'll be switching that up. But this is the interim look for a little bit here. And as it's the end of the year, it is time for the top 5 political clowns of 2024. Now, this is similar to the political turkeys for the Thanksgiving holiday, but it's a little different. This encompasses the entire year. Now, I'll give the same disclaimer that I always got to give. First of all, it was very, 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 very hard to just pick 5. But if I had to pick more, I mean, we could be here all week. This could be a marathon of a stream, naming all of the repulsive people in American politics. So had to narrow it down to 5. Not easy to do via high fidelity. Not an easy task, but here's 5. Now, a few other quick announcements. I limited it to people who are either in the electoral politics space or about to be or adjacent to it. You'll see. So I'm not really including media personalities or anything like that. I know sometimes I do, but in this particular one, I had to put on that limitation. So without further ado, here we go. Oh, these are in no particular order because, I mean, come on, how can you order them? So no particular order. Here we go. All right. Number 1, going to start something kind of obvious. Number 1, Donald J. Trump. Donald Trump himself. Donald Trump has, we're going to get a sequel, and it's actually a sequel that, unfortunately, a lot of America voted for. A lot of people voted for this guy. Now, he did win the popular vote, although who really won the popular vote? Not voting, staying home. Staying home, once again, won the popular vote. Staying home is really popular in American politics. There's a lot of not voting that happens because it's a great democracy that we got here. But Donald Trump has won the presidency again, and he's bringing a lot of fun things with him. He's bringing us Elon Musk. He's bringing us Vivek. He's bringing us Tulsi Gabbard. He's bringing us RFK. And RFK is going to be in charge of health, by the way. This is going to be an absolute nightmare of an administration. It's going to be worse than the first time around. And he is going to continue the war machine. He's not going to do anything domestically. And he won again under the guise of right-wing populism, which, by the way, is a word we need to stop using in 2025. We need to stop using that vernacular of right-wing populism. Right-wing populism is not real. It's an oxymoron. It is right-wing populism is to populism what National Socialism was to socialism. That's basically, from a language standpoint, what is going on here. And I'm going to do an extensive video doing a deep dive into that. But yeah, right-wing populism is not actually a thing. If you want more on that, read The People Know by Thomas Frank. It gives a history on populism and what populism actually is. Populism can be traced back to radical farmers. It can be traced back to people fighting for their rights, because keep in mind, a lot of what we know as rent and things like that can be traced back to the radical farmers. That's how it all started. There were people who would just kind of claim this land, say it's theirs, and then farmers would show up and they'd be like, hey, you got to pay us rent. And rent would either be part of their bounty or it would be in the form of money. And of course, they exploited these people. And so farmers had to stand up for themselves. That's how populism was born. So right-wing populism isn't a thing, because guess what? Right-wing, you're going to be on the landlord side. I'm going to do a deeper dive into this. But Donald Trump sold that fake oil again, and it worked. It worked. And Donald Trump's coming back, and he has got quite the clown car with him. So Donald Trump, you absolutely make the list. Which, while we're on the topic of Trump, we might as well go to one of the members of his clown car, RFK Jr. Man, this guy, did you ever notice all of his stories? All of his stories are just I'm a rich person who never had consequences. Those are all of his stories, all the stories he ever told. I'm really rich and I've never had consequences in my life. It was to the point where he even made Roseanne uncomfortable. Remember when that happened? But every single just, oh yeah, so we just got this bear and put it in the car and then dumped it in Central Park. Yeah, no, I ate a dog. Just kidding. It wasn't actually a dog. I don't know what it was. I used to do heroin a bunch, but now this guy is going to be in charge of health. This guy is, and by the way, there's still some people out there who think he is anti-establishment. He is a Kennedy. He is the establishment of the establishment of the establishment. And he's never seen a genocide he didn't like. He loves genocide, but he has no problem spreading anti-Semitic conspiracy theories around COVID. That's who RFK is. He did some okay environmental work years and years ago. Now he thinks the free market will solve climate change. He is Wall Street funded. He has ties to Wall Street and the CIA. He's pro-war. He's anti-Medicare for all. He's anti-climate action. And this guy, people are under some delusion. They're under they're hypnotized that this guy is some kind of outsider or this guy is some kind of thought leader. This guy should be laughed out of polite conversation. This guy, I mean, he has made a career out of spreading pseudoscience nonsense. And they're putting this guy in charge of health. This guy's going to be in charge of public health. I wouldn't trust this guy to take my garbage out. And he is going to be in charge of public health. So RFK, making the list. Oh, man. So we got Trump, we got RFK. Number 3, Joe Biden. You can't not include Joe Biden. Joe Biden, your legacy is going to be a genocide. Your legacy is going to be denying us a transformational presidency. Your legacy is going to be one broken promise after another. And you know what else Joe Biden's legacy is going to be? Giving us Trump again. If Joe Biden would have kept one of the many promises he broke and wouldn't have run for office again, or wouldn't have run for re-election, he said he wasn't going to, but he did. I think there's a good chance Trump would not have won again because the Democrats would have actually had a primary. It wouldn't have been a fair primary. They don't do that. But there would have actually been a primary. So it would have been at least a candidate that some people were excited about. Instead, they just force-fed people Kamala Harris and Trump won again. And you know what? I'll even say this. There's no way we can ever prove or disprove this. So this is just, me giving some speculation. Maybe you agree with it. Maybe you don't. But I genuinely think that if Joe Biden would not have decided to run again, I think there's a chance that Donald Trump wouldn't have run. I really do. There's no way we'd ever be able to prove that one way or another. I think he would have dangled the carrot. Of course he would have dangled the carrot because he likes the attention. But I think had Joe Biden not, been totally like, yes, I'm running, I think there's a valid chance Trump kind of would have dropped and wouldn't have went through with it. I think there's a legitimate chance that would have been the case. Because I think at the end of the day, Trump didn't really want the gig the first time. I don't think he wants the gig now. I think at the end of the day, he just wanted his rematch. He wanted to claim that victory. So again, we'll never know for sure, but I think there's a genuine chance. So that's Joe Biden's legacy. Been on the wrong side of most issues his entire career, was pro-segregation in busing. He was against a woman's right to choose until he wasn't. He did come out in favor of gay marriage, but he didn't do that until everyone else decided that's what they were going to do. He was just the first person to announce it. And he wasn't for it at the very beginning. So, I mean, this is a guy, he is Rip Van Reagan, and he is the most coddled politician Definitely within my lifetime, within most of our lifetimes. And I think the case could be made that he might be the most coddled politician in the history of American politics. This is a guy who has failed up his entire freaking career and who gets a pass for everything he's ever done. He got a pass for his entire past. He got a pass for everything that happened during the Obama administration. And he's going to get a pass in the future. People will whitewash his administration. They'll whitewash all the promises that he broke. No $15 minimum wage, no public option. They're going to blame everybody but him. They're going to ignore the fact that it took him 3 years just to seat someone at the FCC. They're going to ignore that he promised he wasn't going to expand drilling, but he did. They're going to ignore all that. They're going to ignore the genocide that he oversaw, the foreign conflict around the world that he oversaw, the domestic unrest that he didn't do a thing about. They're going to ignore all that, and they're going to say, well, the Inflation Reduction Act, that's what's going to happen with Joe Biden. And why is he so coddled? Because people in the Beltway like him. He's an old school politician. He plays it well in the Beltway. People like him. He's just fun time Joe, train Joe, or whatever. Union Joe, they call it, which is so ironic. He busted a railway strike. But they love him in the Beltway. So he was the most coddled politician. He's who everyone rallied behind to screw Bernie over again. They force-fed him to the American people at a time where a Stell ham sandwich would have beat Donald Trump. So Joe Biden got to fail his way up into the frickin' presidency. And he's going to now just kind of walk off into the sunset, probably not sure which direction he's going. Even when it was clear he had blatant cognitive decline, people were still going, oh no, he's fine. We should still run him. Oh, he stepped down because people were being mean to him. It's amazing how coddled that guy is. I've never seen anything like it. Yeah. So Joe Biden, you make the list. Now, if Joe Biden's going to make the list, of course, you know who else is going to make the list? Kamala Harris. You can't exclude Kamala. She still managed to lose. And you know what? She could not for the life of her distance herself one inch away from Joe Biden's on foreign policy, or Donald Trump on foreign policy for that matter. Donald Trump was saying, oh yeah, I want Israel to finish the job. All she had to do was just be an inch to the left of that. And I'm not sure if she would have won, but she definitely would have done better, especially in states like Michigan. And she couldn't do it. She couldn't come out against war in the slightest. Why? Well, I guess because she giggles about throwing parents in jail who have kids that skip school. Because she loves prison labor and she loves throwing people in jail. I guess when you're that big of an authoritarian, you can't even fake it to win an election. Kamala Harris is the only person who, when she watches a hockey game, she probably roots for the referees. And she also suffers from the Hillary Clinton syndrome, where she cannot raise her poll number. Every time she talks, people like her less. Every time she talks, people are more like, I don't know. So she lost. We got Trump. She ran a terrible campaign. And I know that part of it's on Joe Biden. I actually blame Joe Biden more than I blame her, to be honest. But truth of the matter is, it was her campaign to run. She could have done a lot of things differently, and she might have won had she done that. But she chose not to. She chose to make the exact same mistakes they made in 2016 and not learn a thing, which says that they're not interested in learning. They don't care. They're going to do it their way. And if they beat a Republican, great. If they don't, well, let's look forward to a lot of fundraising. And you, the citizen, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go? Again, I wonder why staying home always wins the popular vote. And last but not least, this was very White House and White House adjacent heavy, but number 5, John Fetterman. And it was hard to just pick 5 again, But man, John Fetterman has changes his political beliefs almost by the hour, which is ironic because he doesn't change his hoodie all that often. At least it doesn't look like it. But John Fetterman, man, now he's dipping into MAGA territory. If you root against Donald Trump, you're rooting against America. That's his latest. This guy has pretty much run the gamut of political positions, almost even faster than Tulsi Gabbard did. First, he was a working class progressive, but not too progressive. He was kind of okay with fracking, but didn't want to expand it. But he was down with Medicare for all. Then it's like, no, he's not actually down with Medicare for all. Still down with fracking, though. Then it got to the point where he also likes war a bunch. And if you ask him a question, one of his foot soldiers is going to beat you up. Now it's just straight up MAGA. Dude is straight up MAGA. Oh, and he's excited about his former opponent potentially getting a position. He likes that too. John Fetterman. I guess that's what you can expect from a guy who just has a trust fund, who didn't really do much of anything, who was mayor of a little town that he didn't even get paid for because he didn't need an actual job. So he was just the mayor there. And, he got the higher ups to kind of invest in him. And now he's just playing political musical chairs, which is what a bunch of them do when they want to have a long career. They'll play political musical chairs so that they can just find their lane and just keep on winning indefinitely or move their way up. That's what politics in the United States is. That's why most politicians are incredibly, incredibly underwhelming and should not be in charge of any decisions that affect the way we live our lives. And they're not compelling thought leaders. They're not, they don't have interesting perspectives even half the time because they put their mind up for sale. They put their mind up for sale to the highest bidder. So John Fetterman, you get number 5. So there you go. Top 5 political clowns of 2024. Hard to make it just 5. In the comments below, let me know who your 5 were. I'm sure there's tons who we could have mentioned. Tons and tons. It's impossible to just pick 5, but you do the best you can. Leave your comments below. Let me know what your 5 are. And guys, I'm really excited because my movie Left at Wall is available for pre-order now. You can pre-order Left at Wall right now on Apple TV. The link is going to be below in the description, or you can just go to Apple TV on your smart TV or whatever you got and type in Left at Wall and it comes right up. So Left at Wall, Apple TV. If you are able, please give us a pre-order because the more pre-orders we get, the better placement we'll get once the movie is released on January 24th. So please, if you are able, pre-order the movie now. If you're not an Apple TV subscriber or you don't use Apple TV, no worries. Once the movie's out on January 24th, it's going to be out across platforms, so there will be plenty of ways to see it. If you are an Apple TV user, though, please consider a pre-order. It is very, very much appreciated. Happy New Year. Thanks for being part of this. Thanks for being part of Status Coup. It's a wonderful, wonderful outlet that I'm proud to be affiliated with. And this is Ron Placone for Status Coup, signing out.